Welcome to the 33rd episode of the MC Knitting Adventures podcast. My name's Colleen.
And my name is May. Welcome to returning viewers, and for those of you watching us for the first time, glad you can join us. Today's adventure takes us all the way to Picton, Ontario. We're so excited to share that little adventure with you, that little road trip. It was quite a far drive, but it was good. And
we really had a good time.
We did. But before we talk about our adventure, Colleen will talk about what we're wearing. I'm not really sure that's going to happen because we're not wearing anything that we're wearing.
It is hot. It is humid in Ontario right now, so putting on wool was not going to make any sense. But I did want to show you my Hipster Shawl by Locatelli. There is that infamous green piece of paper. I've kept it very safe. So I made it out of Shelridge yarns, knitted and worsted. And I will have May take a picture of that. I'm putting it far away from me because
it's not sticking to you.
It's not sticking to me this time. And there is what the shawl looks like. It's the Hipster Shawl.
Now, was this the one where you asked the viewers for their advice on this, or no? You just were going to do this anyway?
This one, I think the whole look was with it's not really a tassel, it's more of a fringe, but I didn't realize how long it would take. So when I said it was a finished object, it wasn't.
Oh.
It took me a long time. I'm just going to hold it up. May's going to give me a hand.
Beautiful.
Yes, it's lovely and big and in the summer, but if you look, okay, I'm going to start here so you can see, and then we have to go all the way across, and all the way across, and all the way across. You can see the fringe at the bottom.
That's a lot of fringe.
A lot of fringe. So to do that, I had to cut a certain length, fold it in half, and then into quarters, and then I had to loop it through using a crochet hook. Got that all done, pulled them nice and tight, was ready to go, but then because I had the loops, I needed to cut the ends. And I started trying with scissors, and it wasn't going to work. So then I thought, I have one of those rotary cutters. So I used a metal ruler, and that was just the right width, and I snugged it up, and then I used the rotary cutter, and it made it cut really nice.
Yes, and you know what? I was so impressed with how you came up with that idea. I thought, I'm going to get the camera and take a video of this. So in order to show you what I mean, I'm going to put a little video in here of how Colleen did that, and it worked out quite well, didn't it?
Yeah, they're cute.
I don't know how other people do this, but it would be kind of interesting to see what they think of your idea, and or if they have a better idea.
Exactly.
And how to do that.
So I'm really happy how it turned out. I think I'm going to have to develop another thing that is not a finished object when ends aren't woven in and it's not blocked. Maybe an AFO, almost finished object. I think that's what I may
another
do.
category.
Another category. But that is
what we're wearing.
That is what we're wearing.
It's just too warm. But that'll be lovely on. I love that little tassel-y thing.
Yeah, I think it just makes the shawl.
Yeah.
And next we're going to talk about finished objects. My first finished object is a pair of Rose City roller socks that I completed for May, and that's by Bryner. This is a really, really nice pattern. I love the shorty socks. Now, I had made some for my son's girlfriend, and you didn't like how the cuff rolled down. You know, everybody's different. I like the cuff rolling down, but I also like having something that's going to snug it up a little bit more. So what I decided to do was just put a rib on the top of the sock, and then complete them just as that pattern is.
I like the rib.
So there they are.
Those are great colors.
Exactly. And May's always so happy when we talk about finished objects because then she gets to have them.
Then I get a finished object.
Exactly.
But look, these are exactly the same. A little bit different?
They're a little bit different, but I did my best. You know, you have to try and start the best you can. And what's really nice about this yarn, and so I'm going to talk about it, it's Perfect Pair by Loops&Threads. And you can get that at Michael's. And once again, 45% off coupons, 40% off coupons. It makes it a real reasonable pair of socks. So it is, let's see what it is, 70% acrylic, 23% viscose from bamboo, and 7% polyester. So they're going to wash well. They are. And I think you're going to really like them. So they might be, you know, for socks around the house, or, you know, when it gets winter, you might want to have them in your boots. But this has on this is 454 yards on this ball of yarn that you get. So I have enough to make another pair of shorty socks. And I didn't
put... That's a good price then.
It is. It's a fantastic price. I'm really, really thrilled with it.
Okay.
And I think you're going to like to have them. So I think
love them.
I think that rib for you is going to
fit a little
bit better.
So, thank you again.
So that's for me.
I'm lucky.
I know. It seems that finished objects is kind of like a sock
prize for me.
I guess a sock fest. Let's just call it that way. All right, so the next finished object is a pair of socks.
Love these too.
And these are for my son Thomas, whose birthday is not until the end of December, but I wanted to make sure I got them done. He has fairly big feet. So this is Katy Lou's sock pattern, that favorite that all the kids like. And the yarn that I chose was a wool-free brights, and this is a yellow. You can get green and orange and blue and pink and purple. There's all kinds. So it's all the same idea of black and gray. And then this bright stripe is a different color.
It's fluorescent kind of almost, isn't it?
It is.
And
I
these
thought they
are
were
a
kind of
perfect
fun.
match. Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah. So
maybe they'll glow in the dark.
I don't think they do. I know there are some yarns that glow in the dark, but I don't think that's not part of what was advertised for that one, but that's okay. So
Nice.
that's socks for Thomas.
He'll appreciate those. I know
Yes,
he
he will. All right. And then I came up with an idea. So every time I make a pair of socks, there's always a little bit of yarn left. And so what I thought it would be fun to do is to make a little sock for everybody's pair of socks.
This is a great idea.
So let's take a look.
So we'll look at this.
There's Thomas's.
So this is Thomas's, and then there's this little sock.
So that's going to be a Christmas ornament for him. We always give the kids a Christmas ornament, so that's going to be for him.
So here's your socks, and here's your Christmas ornament. This is
Exactly,
awesome.
exactly.
And then for me, we did this,
Yeah,
and isn't that the cutest?
exactly.
And then
And we used wool-free brights for Scott's socks. Those were in
that's my
February.
son's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So
he's
that's
gonna have
those
a.
ones.
I hope he's not watching, but he's going to have a Christmas sock for.
And then
ornament.
this is was Taylor's.
Taylor's.
That was her birthday sock in May
And then this is you have
from YE. That was her birthday socks,
cute.
which isn't still September, but oh my gosh, I have to get those mailed away. We got to get to Hong Kong. And then that was Kevin's birthday sock.
Yeah, like look at that. This is so cute. I can't wait to photograph these in some.
I know,
some
it should
kind of
be
fun
fun.
way, you know.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah.
fun. All right, this pattern is an Oddness of Socks by Leanne Holmes. And I really like the way that it is finished at the top and the loop comes out. It's a paid for pattern, so I don't want to say too much. But I really, really like them. And they don't take too long to
Oh,
do.
and they're cute. They're a great little gift. You know what? I thought you could put a little candy cane or something in there.
That'd be a great
Christmas.
idea. That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Very nice.
All right, Sock Fest continues. One more. And so for myself, I worked on the Georgia socks by Tracy Millar, who's one of the grocery girls. Love to watch them. That's great. And once again, I used that perfect pair. And I had made YE socks out of this. That's my son's girlfriend in Hong Kong. And then I made these. And these are the neatest socks. I love the pattern. Paid for pattern, not going to talk too much, but I love the lace work on it. It's just open, they're great for summer. It's a different heel, and I actually had to cut my yarn.
Oh, is this the one that you were?
That's the one I cut my
Oh.
yarn, and I did it, and I was brave, and the second time I cut it, I was smarter. So I should have watched a YouTube video before I did it, but I was brave, did what I needed to do.
So can you tell me a little bit about that? Can you really like? You
So-
have to actually knit it and then cut through the.
Yes. So it's a little stressful. But Kirby Werby has a YouTube video that shows you, but you weave in, you thread through one needle on one side of the row you're going to cut, and then you thread through another needle on the other, two down, and that leaves one line of, like one row there, and you just cut in the middle very carefully. What I did was I put in a safety pin kind of thing, and I pulled it up so I knew I was cutting the right thing because I didn't want to cut too much. And then that just lets you undo this way and undo this way, and then you just pick up stitches and away you go.
It sounds very stressful.
It was very stressful. But I'd have to tell you,
Would you do it again?
absolutely. The first time I thought, oh, I don't like this, I don't want to, because I'd done it using waste yarn. This was no waste yarn. So the first time I did it, yeah. Second time I did it, I understood it. I did not stress about it. And it worked great. And they actually fit really nicely.
Yeah,
So it's called an
nice.
afterthought heel. And I like it. I mean, I like
it.
a heel flap and gusset, but I also like this. It was a great pattern. I
Good
would
for you for
suggest
trying
buying it.
something new. That's
It
awesome.
was.
You did
And
that.
the
That's
lace work was nice, and it kept you busy.
good.
So it was good.
Very nice.
So those are my finished objects. Sock Fest, there we go. And next we're going to talk about, May, finished object for you. Sorry.
It's all about you, though. Isn't it?
No, well, it was for a minute. Now it's
It
all
is a
about
knitting
you.
podcast, I must say, though. It is about knitting.
Okay.
Finished object, I have a couple of finished objects. The first finished object I will show you is the painting behind us. I don't know if you remember this, but when we went to Scotland, I talked about we saw thistles everywhere we went.
Exactly.
Do you remember? We
Absolutely.
saw photographs
Beautiful.
of thistles, we saw real thistles.
Absolutely.
We saw them everywhere. So then we went to the Isle of Arran, and there was this photograph of it was actually a painting of a thistle, and I thought, wow, that's kind of stunning, and it kind of is a little abstract, and I thought I could paint that. So I took a picture of it, and then I thought I'll come home. But this is me just now getting around to doing that. Anyway, I'll put the picture up that I took a picture of.
Right.
And then I'm going to put this is what I ended up painting.
It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, this lady, I don't know how she does it. She goes down, I'm just going to go paint a thistle, blah, blah, blah. You know, and then upstairs, like, I think, what happened? Like, I'm just knitting another row, and there she has the picture.
I know, but it would be great if I could have the actual idea myself. Like, I wouldn't have thought to do this. Like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so my next finished object, what I want to do is we have photographs of thistles that we've
Right.
taken
Yeah.
of our photographs, and I want to paint on my idea of how I would paint a thistle.
think
This is
that's a
somebody
great
else's
idea.
idea of how
Yep.
they painted a thistle.
Yep.
I want to paint my idea, and I don't know if I'm that creative. But
No,
we'll,
you are.
We'll
You're
figure
great.
that out.
We will do it.
And I have to leave for just 1 second because
Okay.
I have another finished object that
Okay.
I forgot, and I forgot to show you. Maybe on purpose I forgot.
Okay, so I'm just going to chat with you for a second. I have to tell you, what was funny about this thistle. May had shown me 3 or 4 thistle pictures, and not this one. And all of a sudden, she's at the other side of the room, and she's painting, and I'm going, May, are you sure? I don't think that's the color. Is it really the color? And then she explained to me, and I thought, oh my gosh, I was thinking like in the field kind of thistle, not an abstract one. So she did a great job. It was her vision. She did a great job. But in my brain, I thought it's supposed to have a lot of more green on it. So it's funny when you think it's
Right.
going to go one way and it went the other way.
Right. But anyway, that's not finished object.
Yes.
So what had happened was, you know how the last podcast I had a finished object of a felting koala bear, and it was a beginner kind of project. So I was very confident. I like this. This is great. I love felting. It's so good. I only poked my finger twice. I can do this.
Yes, you can.
So when Colleen and I wrote, we saw this book, and it's cute little needle felted animal friends, and we saw it in a bookstore.
Right.
And oh, look how cute those things are.
Yeah.
Oh, and I couldn't resist, and it's got instructions on how to do detail felting. And I thought, I can so do this. I mean, I'm a beginner now, and I've got a book, and it's got good instructions. I can do this. So I brought it home, and I thought I brought some felting stuff, and so I have a finished object.
It's
kind
cute.
of a felting fail. But here I was all confident and thinking I could do this, but I have a whole new respect for felters. Like, oh my goodness.
That's right.
Now, I thought I'd have to amputate this finger because I poked it so
Yeah.
many times. And I think the last time it was a beginner project because it was a big project.
Right.
And this is tiny, finicky,
Right.
pipe cleaners involved.
But the tail
There's-
looks great. You mean,
there's
you
some
did a
certain
great
things that
job.
look good. That the tail's a good thing. Maybe one of the ears looks good. The feet, I think I put on, like, I don't think I put them on properly. I didn't do them, but I think they should have been up here.
So have you thought about cutting them off and moving them up?
No, I'm done with this. I think, I tell you, people that felt, good for you. Like, it is a craft in itself, and it is
Exactly.
if you wanted to get into it and do it on a regular basis, I'm sure you'd get better at it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was fun for the time. I think I'll put my felting away for a bit because I have to let my finger heal.
But
That took
I
me
know I'm
months.
really impressed with you that you would be brave and go for it and do
Oh.
that. And I think it's not.
Those are the back legs. I just realized that. How did that happen? Anyway, kind of funny, you
Yeah,
know, but
it's good.
I'll try it again at another time when my finger's better. But
Okay.
those are my finished objects.
Next, we're going to talk about works in progress. My first work in progress is one of those AFOs. It's an almost finished object, but I'm not saying it's finished because I have some work to do on it. So that is the Besties shawl. Besties for Life shawl. And that's by Cozy Up Knits Designs. They make lovely patterns, and I really, really love their podcast. And what I'm really liking is that I'm using up my stash. So this was a pattern that needed 4 50-gram skeins of fingering weight yarn. And I thought, I think I have that. And I did. So what I had was a gradient set of 80-20 fingering from Shelridge yarns. And it is, the knitting part of this is done. There. Almost there, see? It's not done. Okay, so the knitting part of this is done.
Wow.
So,
I love this.
I do
Colors,
too.
Beautiful.
I know.
Look at that. It's nice and light.
Exactly.
Colors are amazing. The gradient, the way it goes is awesome.
Exactly. So I have lots of ends to weave in. This lace is going to block out, and I know it's going to be beautiful and open up. It'll make this a little bit bigger. There is a picot bind off at the end, and it needs to be blocked in order to get the full vision. So I probably will show this to you next episode when it is an actual finished object, but I was so excited. I kept knitting on it. I went, I'll just use it as a podcast, as a work in progress, but then I got the knitting part done. So I am thrilled.
Wow.
And it's
now,
not
how
purple.
easy was it? Was it a difficult pattern? Or?
It was not a difficult pattern. They're very good at explaining what it is, and it's just that when you get into the lace, you just have to make sure that you watch your stitch count all the time, and just be mindful of that.
So something you wouldn't do in the car if you have to be...
No. What's nice is there's garter sections, so you get to take a break. But I really liked this lace pattern. It just took me a while to get my head wrapped around what it was. And by the end of it, I knew the pattern in my head, and I didn't have to really worry about it.
Great job. And you know what? It's not purple.
It isn't purple, and I really like it.
It'll go nice.
Hopefully
with your
it'll be
hair.
nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
So, almost finished object, still a work in progress. I'll show it to you when it's really all done. So that's the first thing. The second thing is a shawl, and that is by Shannon Dunbabin. It's from Cascade Yarns, actually. It's called the Zephyrus Shawl, and you use Cascade Ultra Pima. Beautiful yarn. I love to work with it. And we saw this pattern first when we were in Florida. And I thought, it's summer, I can knit with this. Now, I left this one in the bag because I want to show you this. This is a llama bag. Llamas are everywhere at this point in time. But this I actually found at a Marshall's store. And I thought, it's plasticky, which is great in the summer because you can just wipe it down. And let's take a look at this. So once again, still working on it, but this thing has grown and grown and grown. So let's take a look what we've got.
Nice.
Make sure we got the right side. Yes, we do. So I love this pattern. Once you get going on it, it's great. So it starts way over there, and then you knit to the point in the middle, and then so you increase, and then you start to decrease. And so it's going to just continue, and then it'll be the same thing. This stuff feels lovely. It's going to, the nice thing about it, it's going to sit because there's some weight to it, right? And I think what I'd like to do actually is try this pattern, but use wool so that I could have something that I could wear in the winter as well.
Now I'm just wondering, this looks long and it looks like all the same, like a long hair. Does that get kind of boring after a while when you knit something like this?
You know what? It doesn't, because it always changes at this side. And when we're in the car and we're going somewhere on an adventure, what's nice for me is that I can look up. You can say, oh, there's a deer, or oh, there's the water, or something, and then I can look up and not worry about it. Once again, I had to do this 3 or 4 times just to get into the pattern of the lace at the bottom, and then it was great. It's a really well-written
Great
pattern.
color.
I really, really like
And
it.
it's lovely, lovely.
Yes,
Really nice.
I'm thrilled with it. So that's fantastic.
Good.
So that's attached. So that's a very leave that there.
Nice.
All right. The next one, I'm kind of calling my Frankenstein socks, or a sock mashup. Maybe sock mashup's better because they're not ugly. They're just a whole combination. So when I made the Georgia socks by Tracy Millar, I really liked the ribbing that she chose for the top. So I thought, okay, I could do that. I really liked the Rose City Roller pattern. So I thought that would be great. So Mara Catherine Bryner, that one. So I thought I'll put that together. And then I had texted my sister and said, what size are your feet? So she's given me anywhere from a 6 to a 7. And she said, but my feet are wide. And I thought, well, I don't know how wide, but she said they're wide. So I want to do a different toe. So I'm going to use something called an umbrella toe. And that comes from patterns that KF Jones of the Bakery Bears has done. So it really is 3 patterns, and I'm just doing little bits as we go. Once again, this is This Perfect Pair by Loops&Threads. I really do like it. And the nice thing is I'm working away. I have no idea whether I'm going to get another pair of socks. So this is what I have. So I'll let you hold those up. I'm doing them 2 at a time, and I'm glad I am. I'll have to tell you, these little balls that are left don't feel the same weight. I thought I had them the same, but I don't know. So I'm going to keep knitting, and I'm going to try and do the entire sock. Her feet aren't that big, your feet aren't that big, so it's the same skein of yarn. I'm sure I could, well, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I'm going to do my best to finish up. And what's nice about this, there is a gray in here, and if I don't have enough to do the toe, then I might make the toe gray.
That's a great idea.
So this is for a birthday present for my sister. She's thinking I'm very organized because it's not until Christmas, but I just like to have a pair of socks on the go. I thought, I need socks for. So I'm making her those. And so these are not tall socks. I couldn't decide socks or slippers, so this is kind of halfway in the middle.
Between, they're lovely.
Exactly.
I love the feel. Very nice.
So that's those. So I'm working on those. And then my last work in progress.
You have been busy.
I have been a busy girl, that's for sure. And
That's what happens
is
when you're not working.
Exactly. Summer holidays, more time to knit. So this is the Arboreal Sweater by Jennifer Steingass. I fell in love with this sweater. Amy Florence of Stranded podcast. I love the ones that she made, and I thought I can do this. I had purchased some Knit Pick City Tweed DK. And then, so that's, I've just done the swatch, so it's a very little work in progress. So what I did, I made sure, somebody had said, I think Patty Lyons, I was watching something of her, I had bought a pattern and she was talking about how to do a swatch. So I did what she said, so this is all one size of needle, and then I put eyelets in, this is a different size of needle. So it was just, am I going to get what I need with the size that was given in the pattern? And I did. I got gauge, and I was thrilled about that. This is a little bit smaller, and if I need the yarn, I can rip it out. I usually buy an extra skein just to make sure I'm not running out. This is the softest yarn. Oh my goodness.
It's very light.
It is very light, and it has, let me tell you what it has in it.
Lovely.
It has 55% merino wool, 25% superfine alpaca, and 20% Donegal tweed. So my
This is what it
job,
looks like.
there it is, that's the skein.
There you go.
So it needs a contrast color, and I wasn't sure that this beige color, which I did like, this is where I thought this would be a little bit more of a cream than a beige, and I thought, oh, I'm not so sure.
It's beigey. Yeah.
It's
Nice.
beigey.
When you put it up against your black t-shirt, though, it looks good.
Ah, well, I'm glad you said that,
Yeah.
because this is my contrast color. So I thought, well, black's going to work. There's black flecks in the tweed. And what I found was it's baby merino, 70% merino wool, 20% baby alpaca, and 10% silk. So it has very similar to that. It's both DK weight, and I think it's going to be lovely. So
It'd be beautiful.
I am very nervous about starting a sweater. I'm always worried it's not going to fit. I have to remember that when you're making something with yarn, you can always rip it out. It's not like sewing where once you make that cut, you're in trouble.
Right.
So I have to get myself
Except for if you're cutting the yarn like you did the last little socks.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so there's no cutting. I'm just going to have to decide. So I've picked the size that I want to do. I've done a little bit of reading about doing color work. I've done lots of color work, but I just wanted to make sure it lays flat. I'm going to increase the size of my needle when I do the color work, so that's going to be just for this part, and I think that will help everything.
I can't wait to see this sweater.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. So those are my works in progress, and next we're going to talk about our adventure.
Today's adventure took us to Picton, Ontario. It's a lovely little town, and it's about a population of 5,000, and it sits right on a little bay right on Lake Ontario, and I'll show you here on the map. So here we are in London, and we drive all the way across. We go all that way. It's quite far actually, and then there's Toronto past there. See Lake Ontario there, and we go past Toronto, and then we go along to Belleville. Belleville's there, see, and then there's Belleville, and then you go down from Belleville about a half an hour to Picton, And there's Picton right there. So it's perfect. It's like this little island. And then the national park is just a little bit south of that. And it's right there. But it's surrounded by Lake Ontario, so it's an absolutely amazing national park. It's about a 6-hour drive from, we go a scenic route, we went, but where we live, it's about a 6-hour drive. We kind of go past Toronto. We don't want to go through all the traffic.
Absolutely.
And a few hours from Toronto, and it's just lovely. It was a lovely drive. It's only about a half an hour from Belleville, and we had already gone to the Belleville store to visit the lady there, and it was lovely. And Picton, there's a little bit of rich history, and maybe you know this and maybe you don't, but Sir John A. Macdonald, our first Prime Minister of Canada, actually worked and managed his uncle's law office there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so there was some history there. Also, in a little bit of the history is World War II. It was kind of an army base. The British needed it, and they trained. There was a training camp there. It's no longer there anymore. I'm sure there's some buildings there that you could see, but it was a perfect geographically place to do something like that.
Right,
so that was World War II. Now they just have an airport, and I think it's for more recreational, like seaplanes, and the cadets can train and that kind of thing there. I didn't know it was a little island. One of the ladies in the yarn store said that it was an island, and I'm like, oh. But there's 3 bridges to get onto it, and then there's a ferry. And this little ferry goes from Glenora, and it's off Highway 33. It's actually part of the highway. It runs, you don't have to pay or anything. It takes you 4 minutes. You're going along the highway. Highway stops. You get on the ferry at Glenora, and then it takes you across to the other part of the highway. Exactly. A lot of people take the 401, like if they want to get somewhere quickly. Right. And I've heard some things that I'd gone on Google Maps or I'd gone on the internet, and somebody had suggested to take that route to Kingston, because that's where we were going to be heading next. Yeah. Rather than the 401, the highway, because it's such a scenic route. It goes right along the coast of Lake Ontario. It was great. Great. I'm really glad we did it, because the drive for like 2 or 3 hours right along the lake. Great views of that. Wasn't that awesome? Yeah. And the weather was amazing, so it was a beautiful day. And then just south of Picton, just like on the map, there's a provincial park, and it's the Sandbanks Provincial Park. And provincial parks are so well maintained and taken care of. They're so lovely. And in that provincial park, on the way in, Colleen had saw this post with a bird on it, and then she said, "There's a bird in there." And I had my camera, so we drove back. We got a picture. It was an osprey. I researched.
You did a great job
what kind of
taking
bird
pictures,
it was. But this bird was so beautiful. And anyway, we went back the next morning, because it wasn't that far from our hotel.
That's right.
And we got a nice photograph of that. But then the funny story about that is, we came home. I was telling one of my friends about that, and she says, "Oh, I play baseball, and there's an osprey right up in the baseball down the road." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So we said, "Really?" So the next morning we got another picture of an osprey, almost exactly the same.
Exactly,
isn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't know which one was which when you take that picture.
That's right.
Some films, because of it's such a great provincial park there, there's been some films done there. There's been a video, like a music video that's been done there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, nice little community. We stayed there. We stayed in the hotel, and the hotel looked right on to, you can see from the photos.
Yeah, it was great.
And it was clean, and it was nice views, and it was just really peaceful there, wasn't it? And it was a busy day, because they had some kind of...
it was Canada Day.
Oh, was that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. And the streets were full, and they had a little community. It was a lovely little community to do that. So, and also in that little area, there was this store called the Local Store.
Yeah, I'll just hold up.
And they have arts, antiques, and local food, and it's this old barn. And as you can see, there was goats outside. It's just
lots of goat pictures.
It was kind of in the middle of nowhere, and there's these goats, and then you go in, and it's lovely set up. It's this old barn, and they have, like I say, arts, people's photography, and the cards that they've done.
And
it's really inspiring for me. Jewelry, antiques, and so we'll show you some of our souvenirs that we bought from that store. But yeah, it was just out in the middle of nowhere in this barn, but it was a beautiful little place. So if you're in that area, it would be worth it to go there.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was really good.
Picton, lovely place, great trip, wonderful adventure. The yarn store was amazing, and Colleen can talk a little bit more about that.
All right, so the yarn store that's right in Picton, by the way, 4 minutes from our hotel. It was brilliant. You could go more than once if you wanted to, which I wanted to. It is a lovely store. The owner is wonderful. She was great to talk to. She has lots of samples. She's got baskets and buttons, and I'm just going to list off some of the yarns that they have. They've got Ancient Arts, Quince & Co., big amount of that. Malabrigo, King Cole, Patent, Sublime, Sugarbush, Barocco, Roots and Rains I'd never heard about before. They also have the Fiber Company, which is beautiful yarn. Diamond, Biscot, Bad Yarns, which are cool. Wool and the Gang, Universal Yarns. Such, like, oh my goodness, so much to choose from. It was really hard because I thought, I just want to wee something, and then there were so many things to choose from. But it was great. And
for a small town, I thought the store was quite large.
Exactly.
Did you think
it
that?
was? It was huge, and it was beautiful to see. I know that they do.
Don't forget to mention the bunny.
I know.
Was
Let's
a
talk
rabbit.
about the bunny. And I'll talk. Yes. And what was the name? Do you remember the name?
I don't remember the name.
The name was Bun Bun. And it's an Angora rabbit, and it was an Angora rabbit rescue. So the rabbit is in the store.
And he just pops around.
Yes.
Kind
And
of
you
cute.
got some good pictures, right?
I did. I got a picture. I'll put a picture.
Exactly. So it's very, very cute. Now, this store has retreats. And so if you go onto their website, so Rose Haven Yarns, go onto their website. I will have it linked in the show notes below. And then take a look, because they do have different times of the year when they have different things going on.
Nice.
So it was great. I really liked the yarn store.
One thing I want to mention about, not the yarn store, but
Okay.
Picton itself, was Gord Downey from the Tragically Hip. What's his name? Gord Downey?
Yes.
Yeah. He was born there.
I didn't know that.
That was where he was from.
Oh, I know that there's a Gord Downey Way in Kingston, but I didn't know that he was born
Maybe
there.
maybe that's what that was about. I don't know. But beautiful trip, beautiful weather, lovely store.
Yeah.
Great little adventure for us, and the drive was brilliant. The ferry was an experience all in itself, wasn't it?
Exactly. It was lots
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we're going to talk about our souvenirs. So hard to choose what souvenirs I wanted to bring home. I could have taken half the store home with me, but I did not. I was good. So the first thing that I found, which is not surprising, is some lovely purple Malabrigo yarn.
I can hold that up
That's
for you.
called Arboreal, which is means April, I think.
Has a blue in it.
It is. It's blue and purple, so I can hardly wait to find the perfect one skein project to work with this. So it is fingering weight. So if any of you have a nice one skein shawl pattern idea for me, please comment below and let me know, because this is beautiful yarn. I love the purple, and I love that it goes with the blue. It goes into blue as well. So I think it's going to make something
Great
really
color.
nice.
You know, there's so many different shades of purple out there.
I know.
This is a nice color.
I have most of them.
Yeah.
I have to. It's funny because you know when you like a certain color that's what you like to work with and wear. And then every once in a while you think, oh, I'll try and get a different color. So I usually go to blues, venture out into greens, and
You'd end up back with purple.
I end up back with purple. But I like all the things that I'm working on. So I'm trying to think, how can I do that? Maybe I can do color work that involves purple with a different color,
Right.
those kind of things.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. And then the second thing I got was from some Finesse Cotton Silk DK. This is by King Cole. And I got two of these. So one's a pink and one's a gray.
And what are these for again? Do you have something in mind?
Yes, I do. So May had mentioned that I could design something for her. And she said, I need to be
okay.
brave and make a design. So you decided, and I think that is going to look brilliant on you. So I'm going to try and make a cowl design using these two colors.
Well, that'll be interesting. I cannot
know.
wait to see how.
So once again, you are so brave with your painting, so I'm going to use you are going to be my inspiration, and I'm just going to be brave to try and do a pattern. I think. I'm hoping. I'm going to give it a try.
Good luck with that.
All right, thank you. And what souvenir
And
did you
my
get?
souvenir, I don't usually get souvenirs, so when I went to the local store, I picked up this pure maple butter. And I don't know if any of you have had maple butter, but it's absolutely lovely. It's awesome. And my son is the one that got us into this. And so every time I see maple butter, I usually pick him up a jar and bring it home. It's not, I mean, you get what you pay for. It's expensive, but, it is maple butter and it's beautiful. Do you like it?
I do.
Yeah, so if you haven't tried maple butter, I suggest you try it. It's nice on toast and it's nice.
I know. It would be nice on pancakes. It would be nice on
Yeah.
French toast. Oh my goodness, I'm getting hungry. So good.
That's my souvenir.
So those are our souvenirs. We had a great time in Picton. Everybody was lovely there. And as I said, the Rosehaven Yarns was brilliant to go into. So many things to choose from. It's almost the kind of store that for me personally, I need to have a project in mind, because if you just are you totally open-minded, you could spend days in there because there's so much beautiful yarn there. But I really did enjoy that.
Great
So we're so glad we get to do this for you. You know, please subscribe, comment down below, tell us what you'd like to see. We really are having a good time with our adventures.
And if you have any suggestions for me as far as felting, you felters out there are probably laughing your face off right now. But maybe a beginner project that I could actually do for in the winter or something like that. That would be great if you had suggestions. But
That
I
would
have
be
a
fantastic.
whole new respect for you felters.
Exactly. So that was our adventure, and until next time.
You take care.